Okay, hi guys. So I'm back with part 2 of my Ohio National Doll Show 2025 videos. This video is going to cover what I actually purchased, my experience of the show sales room, and what I purchased. So I got to the show and Robert Tonner's table was right by the entrance. So you walk in. First, there was a lot of people there. There was a big line to get in because I got there right at 10. So there was a lot of people in line coming in. The admission was $10. That got you a wristband so you could come in and out. It got you a drawing ticket, which I didn't stay long enough for. Normally in a day, I'm pretty sluggish. I don't, I stay in the house. I walk about 200 steps. Yeah. Yesterday, just in like an hour and a half, I walked 3,000. So that was interesting. The organizers and some of the volunteers were saying that they are going to hold the show there next year at the same location. The venue is beautiful. It has it's a hotel and convention center. So there's a lot of labyrinthine passages to different ballrooms and meeting rooms. And then all the way across the property, across a beautiful courtyard and a pool, was the convention center, so that was an absolute hike to get to. It was like trekking to Narnia, So I walked in and Robert was sitting at a desk selling some of his dolls. And he had a Mary Lennox, Ella Wild, right next to him, which I was like, that's a doll that was on my list. But I thought, and he had it for a really good price, but I was like, I'd rather go, I want to go see what the VDC has first, because he was like here and they were like here in the beginning of the area. So I went over there, and by the time I was done, I'll tell you what I did over there, but by the time I was done there, that doll was gone. When I turned around, he had already sold it, which is fine. Okay, so I went over then to the virtual doll convention booth, and I talked to Christopher and met him because I didn't have a chance to meet him the night before. So I met him and I asked him because I need a Grace in my collection, and so I was talking to them about if Grace was coming this year, and that is a definite yes, probably in November. So I'm fingers crossed with that. They had a lot of the same display up from yesterday that I showed you in the previous video, and they had the new Sybil cats for sale. They weren't on the website yet, but they were available at the table, and I bought one. These were $45 at this show, and she is absolutely adorable, and she's really heavy. I'm not sure if she's made out of resin or what, but I just picked one up off the table. I didn't really she's got hand painted eyes and stuff, so they're all a little bit unique. I didn't really, though, freak out about it too much and look at them all. I just grabbed one and handed it to Tamara, who boxed it up for me. And I, talked to Tamara some more, and I'm actually going to put her in the box because I need to make a space for her on my shelf over here, and I don't want her to get ruined. I feel like she would chip or break really easily. Like I said, I don't feel like she's plastic. She feels more like a resin or something. I'm not exactly sure. They might tell us when they do the video announcing these for sale on the Virtual Doll Convention website, but I absolutely love her. So I had to get one since I had made a Sybil, and, it was just, I just had to have one for my own, collection memories, etc., etc. So then I was going to try to be really good at this show, guys. I was really going to try to be good. And I was, for the most part. There were so many. It was a huge floor. There were so many dolls. Mostly, I would say, there's a lot of antiques, a lot of antique dolls, clothes. There was several booths of bears. There were vintage Barbies. There wasn't as much modern collectible Barbies as there were more vintage at this show for some reason. I wasn't in the mood for Barbies because I had recently filled my obsession for Silkstones, and I'd rather get a Silkstone or a reproduction in some cases than the originals because they're in better shape, and me, I'm really hard on my stuff. So but I went to the VDC booth, I snagged a Sybil, and I was looking at the dolls they had on display for sale. And hold on a second. I saw this Elowen and I had to have her. Now, this Elowen is of an older one. She's, I don't know what year she is. I can't figure out who she is yet, but I know the outfit, and she wasn't, she just had the Elowen Wild tag on her, Wild Imagination Inc. It doesn't say which one she, oh, wait a minute. Desolate. There is something on here. Hold on, guys. Let's see if we can read it. It's really small. I didn't even notice this. Can we read that? I gotta take my glasses off to read that. Hold on. Desolate Dreams, nude. So, but she's not nude. She's actually, I looked this up. This was the price the VDC had her at. And this dress, I believe, is Bittersweet. There was a doll in a dress that was green, and that was called Bitter Green. I believe the outfit, though, was sold separately. And you could tell she's older because her shoes are peeling. Her faux leather shoes are peeling, which is fine. To me, I know, you know, that's what happens with faux leather. I'll probably take those off and put them in a bag and find some other shoes that go with this. She's absolutely stunning. She has green eyes. I'm trying to get different. So I have a raven-haired Elowen, and I have Chasing Rainbows, who came with a red wig, and I've already bought her a blonde wig. So I'm trying to buy dolls that have different colored hair. So she's got more of a Titian, red gold hair. It looks a little brown on my camera, but it's like that. It's like that Birth of Venus Titian color. And so now I know which one she is. I'll have to look her up. Desolate Dreams. And then, like I said, the dress is Bittersweet. And I believe I think these are from like the 2008 or 9. I'll double check that for my own. Don't take my word for that. But this is an older one, just like my overdressed, the raven-haired one I have, older. I didn't undress her, so I don't know if she has any chips or any problems underneath, but that's okay. You know, she seems pretty tight, and she's just gorgeous. So I had to have her. There was obviously more dolls there that were tempting me, but I couldn't get all the Elowens in the world. So I was super happy to pick her up at the Virtual Doll Convention booth. Now, I'm going to take her out of this outfit as well. I'm going to bag up. I love that. I was so drawn to this outfit with the orange stripes. And of course it is October, Halloween season. It seemed totally apropos to purchase this doll in this outfit. I am going to undress her. I am going to put this outfit away because it is with this beading and stuff. I am worried about it getting ruined. And you know me, I redress all my dolls eventually. So I'm going to enjoy her for a while like this. And then I am going to redress her. Now, I'm going to put her back over here on this stand. She did not come with a stand. She was sitting prettily on the display table. So then I started walking around, and I picked up this little voodoo doll. This was all the dolls at this woman's table were handmade, and she's been turned into a pin. So I immediately put her on, and I wore her around the show. And this woman, Rachel, she made this little voodoo doll. She was $25, and she was so precious. And I thought, you know, after I wear her, when I get home, I've got, I have my Fakey Blythe Wednesday and Enid, and I also have the Monster High Enid and Wednesday. So I thought she would be perfect to go with those girls and, you know, to wear as a pin, because she's absolutely freaking fantastic. I love her so much. So, I mean, look how crazy and cool she is. I just love her. She's so whimsical and spooky. So I picked her up, and I was super, super happy about her. And then I was walking around the room, and one of the vendors I had spoken to, one of the vendors I had spoken to the night before, crap. Oh, she just had to be in a box. This box is falling apart. Okay. One of the vendors I was speaking to the night before, she makes 3D laser printed and other things for dioramas for dolls. And specifically though, she works on 1/4 scale for like, you know, she's a huge Erin Tonner collector. And so I picked up these awesome Gothic candlesticks that she had. It was 20 for the pair. Very cool. Again, this would also work with any Wednesday dioramas I make, or if I want to get a goth like 16-inch doll or whatever. And she has an Etsy. Let me see, hold on if I can find it. Okay, before the show, before the dinner the night before, I didn't sit with her, but when we were talking, she also gave me this little goodie bag, and it has her, I followed her on Instagram, and she gave me this little goodie bag that has swag from her shop. Here's like a little book for 14-inch size dolls, and this really nice goblet. Her stuff was really great. She had some like clear at her booth. She had some clear glassware with crystal clear colored resin, no bubbles, perfect, looked like, there was liquid in it. Her work was really great. So there's this really nice dark gothy goblet that has like blood or wine in it. And then this is her Etsy if you want to check her out, and it's Grumpy Frog Studio, and she was really cool. And I did stop by the dealer room and say hi. Yeah, it was awesome meeting her. She was really great. So I encourage you, if you like dioramas, to go look at her. She plugged her Instagram into my phone for me in my Instagram. So I'm now following her, but, so yeah, I would totally check her out. And, you guys know that I love dioramas, and like one of my goals, and in fact, I've even started making some things on this channel, like a couch and other rooms and a fireplace and da-da-da-da. But then I run out of space, and then I wasn't feeling well. So, diorama stuff is still like a huge thing on my list in my future doll crafting adventures. So I was really happy to find those. And yeah, please check her out if you're interested in getting stuff for your larger dolls, because it's easy to find stuff for 1/6 scale dolls, like Barbie, but it's not as easy to find stuff, and 1/12, obviously, that like most standard dollhouse stuff is in 1/12 scale, but it's not as easy to find stuff in 1/4 scale. So then there's just so much good stuff, guys. I wanted to take film and everything, but I was really struggling. That my health isn't the best, and ever since surgery, I have like mobility issues and stuff. And so I was really struggling just to walk around the room, and I was overheated because it was warm in there. Yeah. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I really wanted to like film everybody's booths and do a really great vlog. And that was my intention, but it didn't happen. So as I was walking around, right next to her booth, there was this woman that was selling stuffed animals. And I was like, oh, these aren't your usual like teddy bears and stuff. These are art dolls. And I started talking to her, and I was like, your work is amazing. And I've always wanted to tackle doing stuffed animals because, I like to learn every craft that there is with sewing and knitting and crochet. And her stuff, because they were like art dolls, they were out of my budget. But so she was like, so cool. This is what she did. She pulled out 4 different books on how to make stuffies and told me to pick which one I wanted for free. And you guys, this might have been the best moment of the whole show for me as an artist and as a crafter. The fact that she gifted me a book to further my knowledge, to further my, I collect dolls because I like dolls, but I collect dolls because I like to make things for the dolls, right? Because, I got a BFA in art. I'm an artist at heart. So the gift of knowledge, just because I appreciated her work and she just passed on that gift of knowledge, this was really the coolest part of it was, okay, meeting Robert was pretty cool too, and meeting the VDC, but personally as an artist, as a crafter, as a, creator, this was the coolest thing that's happened to me in a while. So I picked this one because you guys know I just made a couple different Blythe outfits from a couple different Japanese books. This one has no English in it at all, but I can use, it has some English, but most of it's in Japanese, but it's fine. I'll just use my phone to translate it if I need to, but I am just, and then she gave me some tips on like, fabric and working with knits. And this is her. I highly encourage you to go to her website, China Cupboard Bears, and she does do layaway. So, and I was obsessed with the little pig that she had. So there might be a day when I ask for my husband to get me one of her pieces instead of a doll. So if you like stuffed animals at all, if you are anybody that collects teddy bears or any other stuffed animals, please check out her website and check out her work. She is absolutely super talented. She was teaching in Japan for a while, which is why she had 2 different Japanese books, and then she had 2 ones that were like written by Americans, American or English, whatever. So I mean, look at these bears, look at them. And I have made, amigurumi, and I have a knitted bear that I've made and shown on this channel, and I actually sell the pattern for. But I can't really knit as much as I used to with my hands. And so I've always wanted to make a sewn stuffed animal. So this is, it's hard to think about it's like easy to make a flat rag doll, but when you start making 3-dimensional, heads, you have to do, the patterning is something that I could try to figure out on my own, but I'd rather start learning this with a pattern. So here's all the pattern pages in the back that I'll trace. And when I decide to look through this, I'll look through this later and think about what I'm going to make and try to get the materials for it and stuff. So yeah, I will cherish this. I am just so happy about this book. Okay. And then, so I wandered around, and now this I thought was a deal. Hold on a second. So I was looking at this little Sasha baby, and I have always wanted a Sasha doll ever since I saw them. I'm a child of the 70s, and there's something about vintage 60s, 70s, 80s dolls. I know these dolls were created before the 60s, but yeah, there's something about these Sasha dolls that I've always wanted, but they haven't been high on my radar as far as like, I always see them on Etsy, I always consider it, but they haven't been something I purchased. Well, I was looking at this doll, and he was like, oh, it's 80. This is what the Sasha baby with the white bird. It did not have the white bird with it, but this, like in the catalogs, this was the baby with the white bird. And this is the original outfit. I looked it up. This is, you can see here, it has, this is the versions that were made in England. So they're like, a later doll. They're not like the early ones. And it doesn't have the white bird, but he was like, oh, I'll do 50 for that. And then he was like, well, actually this doll was laying on top of a boxed full-size Sasha. And he said, actually, I'll do 150 for both. And she was in the box. The box wasn't in perfect condition. I have the box, but she fell out of it. So I'm going to show it to you. So here is the Sasha. So he was like, I'll do both for 150. And this one is a brunette in the dance outfit with her ballet flats, her ballet flat dance. Yeah, but I can't talk. It's falling off her foot. She was in the box. This is the box. Let's see if I can get her better. She was in one of these boxes. She just fell out of the bottom. The bottom came open. Again, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of room for larger dolls, but she was in one of these boxes, and I've always wanted a Sasha and a Gregor. There's nothing on it except for the pictures and the Sasha doll at the bottom. So it's one of those picture boxes. Now, he had her at, this is the ballet dancing Sasha. The price was $200. So together, I got them both for $150. Which I feel like is a deal, because, usually if I was going to go online, I don't see the Sashas unboxed for anything less than $100. Plus this doll. I mean, yeah, I feel like this was a deal. I couldn't turn it down. She's a little bit dirty. She's, that box had been like, the cellophane was, and plastic was no longer like fully attached. I feel like they need to be wiped down. And, but otherwise she's got, she's got some smut here, because smudge, I can't say them, smudge of smut here, because, in here because again, her box was no longer sealed. And her tights are falling down, but yeah, she looks like she's got everything that she was supposed to come with: her shoes, her outfit, and you know, she's never really been played with. It doesn't look like her hairnet's still on her. I cannot wait to get make stuff for her. I just think these are beautiful dolls, and when I was looking them up, their hair feels a little dirty too, a little dirty, dusty. Her bangs need to be kind of set down. You can see how it looks sparse because her bangs are supposed to be down. So I might actually just gently, his hair also feels a little, not like there's gunk in it. It just feels a little, they're old dolls. They've been sitting around for 20, 30 years collecting dust and stuff, but there's, you know, so I'll probably like lightly wash their hair, give them a wipe down with some wipes. Their limbs seem really good. They're like strung dolls, right? Yeah, I'm super excited to like find some patterns for them and make some stuff for them. They have the Philtrum, so they're the older ones. She's got a little bit of dust and smudge on her nose. It was funny because when I was reading about them, it was saying that they were perfectly made asymmetrical, the original ones. Anyway, I don't know if once they got made in England, if that was still the case. And that I find that interesting that like sometimes if a doll needed a replacement head, the children would be able to tell it wasn't the same doll because every doll was slightly asymmetrical and unique. And I was thinking about that last night, and I was thinking about how Danny Chu, when he makes smart dolls, he purposefully puts some asymmetry in them as well. You know, very different from like the perfectly screened Barbie dolls. And if, you know, their eyes are just ever so slightly wonky, the Barbie collectors will flip the frick out and like return it. So just a different like philosophy on doll collecting. And I think in one of the things I read last night, the original woman who made these dolls, I forget her name now. I'm sorry. It's, she didn't want them smiling because she felt that she was from Switzerland. And it was after World War II, and she felt that the children of World War II were just so traumatized, they just wouldn't really like, you know, big smiley dolls. So she wanted something more neutral and grave to project their play on. So then I will leave them here as we talk. So then shortly next to their booth, there was another booth with a bunch of different dolls. And I found this Alan doll. Now, he was supposed to be on his stand. He was on his stand. You see it says Alan 48 with stand. Now, I had the woman, he's in really good shape. His face is good. I had the woman, like the last doll show I went to, I bought a vintage Ken in his outfit. And when I took his clothes off, he was broken. And I don't think that the sellers noticed. But so I just, so I wouldn't run into the same thing, I had her undress him, and we both forgot that his stand was supposed to be included. So, but his outfit is complete. So that is, I felt that 48 with his complete outfit in really good shape was a good price. He needs a wipe down. His arms are a little bit darkened, probably because of the green fabric. I don't know if that will come off or not. His limbs are tight. There's nothing wrong with him. And I actually prefer Alan to vintage Ken, like the original Ken. I like all like from like the 60s up Kens I like, but any of the original Kens, I'd like to get a reproduction of them at some point with, you know, but he's not my favorite. But freaking Alan is the most adorable. So I finally have an Alan, and I'm super happy to have him. I'm irritated that I forgot the stand. You know, I wouldn't have paid 48 if he was nude, obviously, but he has, you know, shirt, underwear, pants, coat, jacket, shoes. So I felt that was a good deal. Or I felt that was an appropriate price. I don't know that I got a deal. And plus, if I had gotten the stand, that would have been even better, because those things aren't cheap anymore. So then I didn't really get anything else, as I was, I walked by the booth of the show host. So let me get this out. Hopefully this is, let me see, hold on. No, that's my cat's rabies vaccination that I haven't taken out of my purse yet. Oh, where is it? Did I put it inside here is maybe this will tell us. Yes, the official journal of the United Federation of Doll Clubs. Okay, so I went by their booth, and because I might want to become a member. Did I stick? And that's who hosts the show, and they do it yearly, and it is, God, this freaking magazine looks amazing. It's a $40 membership for a personal membership. This was free to anybody who wanted one at the show, so I picked it up, and I am going to look through it. And here is the United Federation of Dolls application for an individual. Like now, as I said, its annual dues are $42. I could be a member at large because I don't have any clubs, local groups around me. And, you know, I was kind of considering that maybe I would start something if they, you know, would support something like that. So, but we'll see. That might be something in the future I talk to the club about. And I don't know if I'm going to do this membership this year or next, but I am definitely going to, because there's the main thing to me is there's going to be, if you sign up, you get the calendar of annual events, you know, so there would be opportunities for me to see what else is going on in the rest of the country and, you know, maybe attend some more things. So I'm definitely going to consider that for next year or the year after that. I'm definitely considering returning to the convention next year, since it is a pretty easy drive for me. And I was able to, it's funny because on the way from my house to Columbus, Ohio, I go near Fort Wayne, Indiana, and my son is attending a private college there. So I was able to, on the way home, I was able to pick him up at his dorm, and I took him out to dinner, and that was really cool. We had a little mommy-son date. So that's another bonus. If they have it at the same place next year in Columbus, I could attend the show again and, you know, have fun with my child who's left me alone in my empty nest. So, I think that's all that I picked up. I spent more than I wanted to. I didn't make it to Marsha's Facets Boutique booth like I said earlier in my last video. I really wanted to, but at that point, I was so freaking exhausted. I just couldn't take it anymore. And I'd gone through the perimeter of the room. I'd even sat down and took a break. And then I walked through the middle of the room. I couldn't find her. I didn't know where she was. And at that point, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I went and I stopped by Robert's table one more time on the way out. And I asked him about that Mary Lennox doll, because I know that it was for sale. It apparently, he says it's still for sale, and he says it, I wrote down, I don't remember it again. I keep forgetting it, but I did jot it down in my phone, which I'm using to record, so I can't tell you. But it is still out there on somebody's website for sale, not the virtual doll convention. He had worked with somebody else to put that Elowen out. And then he signed this doll that I purchased. Let me show you. He signed this Elowen, and he signed my other Elowen in the same area. He signs them here. He signs them on their little cheek here. So I got 2 dolls signed by him at the show. I didn't pull out the Nima because she was, you know, she's got a dark skin, and I didn't know if it would show or not. So, but yeah, this doll and my Chasing Rainbows Elowen he has signed, which was great. And you know, there was like a woman in front of me at the night before, and she was having him sign some different dolls that weren't Elowen or Nima, you know, because he's done so many dolls over the years. And it was cool. I was able to tell him that in the last couple months I had been like obsessed with finding the little mismatched dolls. You remember these? And even though, you know, they were Playline, I was obsessed, and I wanted to get all 4 of them. And he was like, you know, I was really proud of those dolls. And, you know, it was a shame that they didn't take off. And I agree, because so I was really cool for me to like tell him that I loved a lesser known or a lesser appreciated doll in his oeuvre, his genre, his output, you know. And then I also told him it was an honor to meet him. And, you know, I had a really good time, and I wish I had been a little healthier. I wish I could have taken more time there. I really enjoyed the dinner. I would have done some of the workshops on the Saturday that, you know, but none of them were in my specialty of doll collecting, so I didn't feel like going down, and I really needed to rest. So if you were at the show, I think Deb's Doll Room was there. If you guys are watching this and you were at the show, leave a shout out down below. And if you did a video or anything, let me know too. If you have never heard of the show, or you you know, I would definitely, it was a big show, and more it's getting harder and harder to find doll collecting communities. A lot of the people that were there were older. It seems like there's a huge gulf between the older, like high end and antique doll collectors and the younger generation who are like interested in collecting Playline, and like American Girl, Barbie, Monster High, Bratz, Rainbow High. It seems like there's like this gulf there. There were some of the younger dolls, you know, the newer dolls at the show, but not as much at this show. Like, and like I said, there were some like antiques there that like, there was this doll from, she said it was like 1824. It was a wooden doll, I think, or the 1820s. I think it was more 1830s to 40s, just based on the style of the clothing, but whatever. That doll, and it was like, it wasn't very big, and I really liked it. It was $1,500, and I can't have something like that in my collection yet. So, I mean, and there was like this one dress for like a larger, like 18-inch doll or something that was like, again, $1,500 just for the dress. It was like handmade insertion lace, beautiful, perfect condition. It was gorgeous. So, I mean, you could find everything. You could find all kinds of stuff at the show. So I would consider going, looking for it next year. It's the Ohio National Doll Show.com. If that's something you're interested in. And again, let me know if you attended. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.